Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Every Other Day vlog with Andy with B Libre. Today we're going to talk decentralization. Decentralize all the things, and you will change the world for the better, right? That's the idea. That's the running meme with cryptocurrencies, and started with Bitcoin, of course. And everything is good for Bitcoin, especially decentralization. Yeah, let's get one thing straight. I think this episode is about decentralization and Bitcoin. I believe getting the decentralization scale correct. So the balance of decentralization to centralization, I believe Bitcoin currently has the reason why Bitcoin is so valuable in price as well as just for the tool that it is because of how well it's got the game, not game theory. Well, I guess game theory, of course, has to do with it, but the economic game theory structure that Bitcoin is operating under today. You have nodes, you have miners, and you have devs. And none of these alone has any power. You do need miners in order to verify transactions. You do need nodes to propagate transactions under whatever rules everybody wants to agree to. So if 10 out of the 1,000 nodes are running a different protocol, then it's likely that those nodes, I guess technically they're not going to overpower the system. Of course, they'll just be, these 10 nodes would be propagating transactions wherever they are, and hopefully there's enough of them to run this alternate protocol, which I guess is how Bitcoin Cash came to be, because it was a fork. So whatever nodes and miners wanted to propagate transactions for a different type of crypto, well, they were free to do so. And that is definitely one of the selling points that Bitcoin has, is that anybody's allowed to fork, and people have. But let's get back to this concept of decentralization. And I've heard a couple of people mention that mining is too centralized on Bitcoin. And I think it's a very silly statement to make, or accusation to make, in relation to other cryptocurrencies that are out there. And I say that because the way that Bitcoin is decentralized, even though there are several, I think we can count them on 10 fingers, how many mining cartels, mining pools. You can use the word cartel, not a derogatory term, either cartel or pool. These mining pools are actually, they are forced to play fair. So if one mining pool wanted to say, well, we're going to subvert and try to do a 51% attack, or try to go against the interest of the majority in Bitcoin, it's likely that they're going to lose. They're going to lose power. They're going to lose transaction power, sure, but they're going to lose hashing power. So a mining pool isn't just one person or a small group of people that put a lot of money into mining. That's not how these pools work. It's actually a lot of people all over the world with different interests. Let me rephrase that. Their own unique specific interests. And all these people in aggregate make up a pool. So let's say me and 10,000 other Andys all over the world have their own intentions, have their own wants and needs, but the one common denominator between all of us is that we do appreciate the mining pool fees that this pool has. We feel that it pays out fairly, it pays out transparently, and the nodes, rather the protocol that this mining pool is mining out of, is the protocol that we all agree with. And so you can see here that if the mining pool was actually working against the interest of the 10,000 hypothetical Andys, then they would quickly drop out, and guess what? That mining pool would lose a bunch of transaction power, hash power, sorry, and that would make that would essentially make the pool inert. So it would lose a lot of its power. It would lose a lot of its voice in the space. So when people say that there's very few mining pools, there's no issue as far as an aggregate of power that is going to create an imbalance. It's actually, there is no problem with an aggregate of miners, a small aggregate of miners, because each mining pool is made up of, like I said earlier, like 10,000 Andes. So if any of those mining pools start to become dissident, if one of them starts to act against the best interest of the majority of the Bitcoin users, then of the Bitcoin economy, then any one of the 10,000 Andes in that pool can back out and then remove a lot of that mining pool's power and basically make it useless. So reduce its voice, reduce the amount of hashing power that it has, and it is a way to regulate power within these pools. So even if there's only 10, any one of those decides if any one of those gets too big and starts to act against the interest of the Bitcoin economy, it's not a big deal, because there is that check and balance within the pools. It would be a different story if the pool was made up of only 3 entities, or let's say 3 parties that had a lot of money and were investing a lot of money into that pool. Then that's a different story. But the majority of the mining cartels or the mining pools are actually made up of over thousands of miners, of individual miners with their own individual interests. And that is what keeps each of those mining pools honest. So this episode was more, I guess it turned out being more of a decentralized question about miners, about whether whether the Bitcoin economy's mining pools are decentralized as opposed to the rest of the facets that I brought up at the beginning. So I guess we'll cover the other issues on a different vlog. Until next time, bye.
Very nice.